Shazam. Who starts a class with Shazam? I don't know if you guys remember Shazam or not, but it was the Wonder Twins. Give me a smiley face if you ever watched the cartoon, The Wonder Twins. And they used to put their fists together and they'd say, Shazam, Wonder Twins, activate. And that is what we are going to do today. We are going to activate. This is Dr. B, and I am from the Idaho Virtual Academy, and I have a slide that I want to put up here for you just to show you what I mean by Shazam. So let me go ahead and get this going, and then we will get started here today. Well, I am getting it going. In the chat area, if you could let us know what is your favorite Christmas or holiday tradition. So in the chat area, what is your favorite wintertime holiday tradition? Go ahead and type that in right now, please. Right, we've got some coming in. Excellent. Yeah, decorating the tree, listening to Christmas music, driving around to see all the lights, the embroidered tablecloth that everyone signs each year, celebrating other holidays like Yule, making ornaments for the Yule trees and nativity, making cookies with the family, Christmas Eve church service, baking cookies with kids. These are all fantastic traditions, and also traditions that your kids can write about. If you ever need writing prompts, that's definitely a place to go, because writing from experience is one of the best places that you can write from. So again, this is Dr. B, and I am so thankful that you're here today. And I'm just putting a fist bump with you right now and saying Shazam, because it's the teacher and the learning coach that can create magic. I'm here today bringing to you tips, tricks that I've learned over the years, tools that I've used, and I'm putting all of that together in a really good package that I think is going to work for you when you're working with your kids. I've taught thousands of kids how to write in my career. I've worked with kids from kindergarten up to master's level college students, and writing is one of the most beneficial tools that you can give your children. One of the most important tools that you can give them if they want to be successful in college and in life, because that's what we do, we communicate. And I'm currently teaching my own kids to become better writers. And I can tell you that the tools that I'm bringing forward today have been practiced and have been used with a reluctant 10-year-old. If you have a reluctant writer, go ahead and put their initials into the chat area, please. I know that my little ERM is a reluctant writer, but if you have one, go ahead and put their initials into the chat area, because I have a reluctant writer too. And it is like pulling teeth every time that we have to get together to do a writing assignment, and it's not really very much fun. And what I've always gone back to is I recently finished my PhD and wrote my dissertation, and the tools that I used and developed in that period of time, over 6 years, are the tools that I have brought back time and time again to use with my own children and with children in my classroom. So those are the tools that I'm going to share with you today. So again, the techniques have been tested on real live children, so I know that they work. So I'm going to bring the tips, tricks, and tools to the table. I need you to bring the love to the table. You love this child more than anybody on earth. So bring that today. Bring the insight into your child. Know what kind of learner your child is. What kind of tools that might work with your child, and which ones may not work with your child. That insight's really important. And then bring the child to the table. They're welcome to sit here and watch with us if they'd like to do that, or just the idea of them in your mind, just thinking, okay, how will this work and how do I have to tweak it? Because I'm bringing you something that works for me and my family and may not work exactly the same in yours. But I will be here to answer any questions that you have along the way. And I'd also like to introduce Mrs. T, and she is in the chat area right now. So if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to type those in. If it's something that she can answer on the spot, she's a brilliant woman. She'll type that in there, or she'll bring it forward to me if it's something that I'm from my own personal experience. her experience is with K through 2 students. My experience specialty area is 3 through 5. But again, I've worked with kids all the way up, taught writing to kids all the way up through master's level students. So I will be able to help you too. So again, welcome, and I think we are ready to get started. We've got a full day today, and many of you probably got the file transfer when we started. Go ahead and raise your hand if you got the file transfer, just so I can see how many of you did. Oh, good. Hearing the hands raised. Good. Okay, excellent. So I'm going to be teaching from this file transfer today. I'm going to have, there we go, put the hands down. Ms. T would do that. I'll be teaching from this document today. Don't feel like you need to print it out. This is something that will be posted onto our website, so you'll be able to access it anytime. And it also has just kind of the flow of how I do things when I'm teaching writing, so hopefully this will help you as well. I trust that you'll be learning some new tools along the way. There are some tools that I've never used before that are new to me that I've just learned in the last few weeks. I did some similar things in my own writing, but most of these are tools that I've used a lot in my writing. But there's a couple new ones, like Google Voice is a new one to me, so I'll be sharing that one with you. All right, I think we are ready to get started. So if you could take a poll right now, I'm going to change the polling tools here, and let me know what is easiest for your children. Is it talking, A, typing, B, or writing, C? Go ahead and tell us what's easiest for your children to do. Talking, typing, or writing. And you can take this poll by going down next to the smiley face and scrolling over to the right, and you'll see the A, B, and C. So go ahead and type those in if you would. And it looks like for most kids, and this has been my experience too, for most kids it's talking. Yeah, just being able to talk, to get their ideas out. I don't know about you. I have an incessant little talker at my house, a 6-year-old, and he will talk incessantly, and he can tell the most beautiful stories. Obviously, he can't write, so we need to work around that, but he can definitely get those stories out. But talking is the easiest way, oftentimes, for kids to get their ideas and their stories out. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use a program that will allow kids to talk, to get their ideas out, and to share what it is that they want to write about. But before we do that, I'm going to just tell you today's writing assignment. Today's writing assignment is a writing assignment that's close to my heart because we just experienced last week with my child. But what is your favorite cold weather activity? So my reluctant writer, my 10-year-old, brought this writing assignment home, and the writing assignment was, what is your favorite cold weather activity? So you're going to be writing this with your child. Now let's just say that I asked you to sit down cold and write this with your child. What kind of emotion does that strike in your heart? I know for me, when it came across my plate and it was something that I needed to do, I was like, oh no, really? Let me show you a little tool I use to collect some data. So let's go ahead and collect some data here, and we're going to find out what our favorite cold weather activity is. So you should be able, oh, maybe not on the screen. Let me see if I can grab it here. It did not match up. Well, let's go ahead and go back to the chat area. What is your favorite cold weather activity? That's the assignment. In the chat area, what was the emotion that you experienced when I asked you that question? Go ahead and type maybe 1 word, 2 words, or 3 words. What was the emotion that you experienced when I asked you to write or sit down with your child and write out a paragraph or a couple paragraphs about their favorite cold weather activity? What was the emotion that you felt? I know for me, when my child brought that home, it was something we were working on Wednesday night. Homework was due on Thursday, and it struck terror in my heart because I knew that it was going to be a long, sleepless night with him. So what was it? What does it evoke inside of you? What kind of emotion were you feeling when I gave you that assignment to write with your child? Go ahead and type that into the chat area now, please. Okay, we've got lots of different emotions. Yeah, needing caffeine for mom so that you can definitely get through that. Ugh. okay, go with it, maybe some frustration or some dread. I know I experienced all of those things with my own. Some fear and anxiety, wondering, boy, can I really do this? Am I the best writing teacher for my child? Those are all fantastic and true types of experiences that people have when trying to decide and work with their kid as far as writing is concerned. So again, I experienced all of those last week. So the question then became, what are we going to write about? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a survey link into the chat area. This is called Answer Garden. It's a tool that I use to gather information. I would use this with groups of students. I wouldn't necessarily use it with one student. And you'll see why in just a couple of minutes. But go ahead and click on that link that's right there in the chat area. Click on it, and it's going to ask you, what is your favorite cold weather experience or activity? So go ahead, there's a little button on the top that says type your answer here. Go ahead and type in your answer. What is your favorite cold weather activity? And this will give us an opportunity to share what our favorite cold weather activities are. So you may not have cold weather, at least not very cold if you're from the Florida Virtual Academy, but just humor me here. If you did have cold weather, what would your favorite cold weather experience be? So this is just a brainstorming activity. This is something that I might do with children in a different type of a way, or with writers, to get their ideas and their activity or ideas flowing. So go ahead and type that in. It looks like we've got lots of different ideas. Go ahead and press F5 if you want to reset and see what other people's ideas are. That would work too. And then we'll take a look at this here in just about 10 seconds. Go ahead and vote. If you have more than one, go ahead and put in maybe one, and then go back to the site and put in another, and even a third if you want to. Let's go ahead and add in our favorite cold weather activities, and then we'll take a look at what these are. All right, give me a smiley face if you can see my whiteboard. I know many of you should be able to see that. I'm going to go ahead and just press F5 here. And we've got some excellent ideas for our writing assignment. So favorite cold weather activities. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this list and I'm going to export it into something that we can use called Wordle. So let me go ahead and do that. What that would look like is once I have this brainstorm here, part of the pre-writing process, this is inside of Answer Garden. Again, I would use this with groups of students. I wouldn't necessarily use it with one student, but the next step I would definitely use with one student. So once they have their ideas, you have your ideas, I'm going to press Export. And then I'm going to scroll down, and it's going to say, what do you want to export it to? And I'm going to export it to Wordle. And some of you have been with me before when we've used Wordle. We used it back in our October class. So here we go. We now have a Wordle showing us what some of our favorite activities are. So you'll notice within a word cloud or within Wordle, this is Wordle.net, the largest words are the ones that were used most often. So it looks like many of you enjoy skiing and sledding. Those were used most often. Board games was up there too. So we've got lots of really good ideas. So this again is part of the pre-writing process, the brainstorming piece. So now that we have a starting place, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my topic. So today we're going to write about, at least I'm going to write about my favorite, and I'm going to choose sledding. So now comes the fun part, getting everything that's inside of my head onto paper. And I mentioned earlier there was a tool called Google Voice, and Google Voice is my personal transcription service. It is a very, very cool. So I'm going to show you what Google Voice looks like. Here's my Google Voice inbox right here. I've already set up my Google Voice number. I can choose a Google Voice number that's just a random number. I can choose that. Or I can choose one that's hooked onto my cell phone. I've actually chosen to go with one that's hooked onto my cell phone because the reason I like this program so much is that Google Voice allows me to call up a phone number, my cell number in this case, and leave a message. When I leave a message, it is going to actually transcribe that message for me. So then I will have text based on what it is that I need to that I'm going to share. So for instance, one pre-writing technique is called fast write. And in fast write, you don't need to have any technology to do this, or you can. You encourage kids to sit down for 5 minutes. So when my little 10-year-old came home and had the assignment of his favorite cold weather activity, he sat down for 5 minutes. We set the timer, and he did a fast write where he did not have to worry about punctuation or penmanship, capitalizing anything at all. He could just write. He wanted to get everything, I wanted him to get everything from his mind onto paper. So you can do that using technology, using this program called Google Voice. So what I'm going to do right now is, and you'll probably be able to hear me, I'm going to actually call on my Google Voice number. So I'll do it on speaker here. And I'm going to talk about flooding. So here we go. So dial this number. And I'm just going to leave myself a little voice message.
This call is not available. Please leave a message after the tone.
One of my favorite cold weather activities is sledding. We sledded a lot as a child. I remember sledding with my aunts, uncles, parents, and my brother. We had a magical sledding hill at my aunt's house. We used to build a bonfire as we sledded down the hill. I also remember holding on to my uncle's waist as he dragged myself and my brother up the hill to the top after a long sled down. Some of my best winter memories are sledding. Okay. So I just left that Google Voice message on that cell phone. It's very easy to set up. It took me probably about 30 seconds to set it up. You can set it up at Google Voice if you want to set it up to some random number that your child can just call. And then what happens is you'll have a Google Voice inbox right here. And so here's my Google Voice inbox, and it shows that the message was 50 seconds long that I just left. And again, it was just a fast write. I was just trying to get ideas out of my head onto paper. Sometimes with reluctant writers, one of the problems is they don't want to physically write, especially with gifted kids, because they want things to be perfect. I know yesterday Mrs. T talked about perfectionism, and that is huge with these kids. And they want it to be perfect the first time it comes out. And so the idea of a fast write or writing something that's imperfect is just something they can't even fathom. So you just hand them the phone, set up your Google Voice, and allow them to transcribe, allow the system to transcribe what it is that you want them to transcribe. So I'm just gathering up the text right now. It takes about a minute or so for all of the transcription to come through, but you'll notice here is it's about 75% accurate, so it's not completely accurate. But what it does is it gives you a picture of what it is that you would like to talk about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one that I did yesterday as a sample. So it's the one right down below here where this one's still in progress. I'm going to go ahead and just select it, and then I'm going to put it into Wordle. So many of you have seen me use Wordle in the past. So I'm going to go here to wordle.net. I'm going to create my own, and then I'm going to paste that text in and press go. Then what's going to happen is big ideas are going to come forward. Now I'm beginning to look at this and saying, you know what, I see sledding, I see family, I see memories, I see childhood, brother, my uncle, magical. Okay, so I'm starting to get the gist of what it is that I want my paper to be about. So this is a good starting point. How many of you can see this working with your own children? In the chat area, just go ahead and let us know. Can you see something like this working with your own kids? You can go ahead and give me a smiley face if you can, or yeah, maybe. Okay, good. Just wanted to get a feedback. Okay, good. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely fun. It's definitely something that kids can really get into because it's different than what they've always done in the past. There's something about novelty in the brain. If you're doing something a little bit different, your brain sees it as being novel, and suddenly it becomes much, much easier and much more motivating to do. So let's go ahead. We have that. I'm going to go back in and share my screen here. We have that, let me see here. I want to make sure that you're able to see it. So are you able to see my screen? Go ahead and give me a smiley face if you are. No, okay, give me just a second. Let me see if I can get this back. Okay, thanks for your patience. Let me go ahead and open this back up again. You should be able to see it. Go ahead and give me a smiley face if you can. All right, excellent. So now we have something that we can go from. So we've got, they brainstormed in the beginning, and then they took their information and did a fast write. And again, all of this is right on that paper. It's a one-page document that I sent you. So you'll have all of this, and you'll have the recording session afterwards. So we started with a brainstorm that we didn't answer guarded, moved it over to Wordle, and then we did a fast write, and now I'm coming back to Wordle. I did a fast write inside of Google Voice, coming back to Wordle, and I'm kind of getting a picture of what it is that I want to write about. And for me, it's going to be sledding, and it's going to be about my memories as a child sledding and how important that was to my family. Okay, so again, many of you are probably familiar with Wordle because we did it in the past when we were doing classes together. So let me show you exactly where you can find that. If you go to, let me just show you here, giftedresources.com, on the right-hand side are the trainings that you need. So the Wordle training, there's one down here, Wordle the 21st Century Learner, and the iPicky, which I'm going to do next, is this training here. Once you're inside of Gifted Resources, please, please, please sign up for our newsletter. It's right here. You'll put in your name, your email, and your name, and then you will go ahead and select Parents. This is our way of communicating with you. This is our way of giving you the information that we have, getting it out to you in the form of a newsletter. Our newsletter is going to start again the second week of January. Some of you have signed up and aren't getting the newsletter. We realized that there was some kind of glitch in the system, and we're getting a new system that we're going to be sending out of, so you should get them 100% of the time starting on January 10th. We're taking a little hiatus right now just because of the holiday season. So newsletters will be coming out again on the 10th. So the trainings are here on the right-hand side. The newsletter is here. And then we also have a Facebook page, and I'm going to just go there really quick to show you so you know how to get this information, and then we'll keep going. So here's our Facebook page. It's facebook.com, 21 Gifted Resources. And this is where we share questions, too. So if you have questions or comments for the group, we also share out tips just like we're sharing right now. We have a fan of the week that we choose every week for participating, and some of the questions that we had asked yesterday in yesterday's session with Mrs. T are here. We posted these yesterday. We've got 5, 6, 7 responses already from parents. There's nearly 300 people on this site. Lots and lots of support if you're interested in that. Okay, and I'll have Mrs. T type that into the chat area so you have it. All righty. So here we go. We're going to go back into our plan here, and I'll show you. So now I've got some ideas back into my Wordle, and this is what I know that I want to write about. I don't really know what that's going to look like, and it probably seems a little bit kind of chaotic right now in my mind, but I do know that I've got some ideas, some big ideas. So what I'm going to do next, those of you who are with me through iPicky know about 6-word stories. So my next step then is to create a 6-word story to go along with my Wordle, my word cloud. So a 6-word story is going to take what I have in my mind, what I have on that Wordle back here, and I'm going to break it down into 6 words. The reason I do this is it's kind of like Twitter. You have 140 characters. Here you have 6 words. No, not any more than 6, not any less than 6. You want your child to get across their thesis statement or their topic sentence in 6 words. So we're going to begin to do that first by finding a picture that captures the essence of our story. And I found one of those pictures. So I have my picture down here that captures the essence of our story. So here it is. And this is going to be a picture that I have maybe on my camera, or it could be a picture that I have just anywhere. It could be something that I found off the internet. It doesn't even need to be a picture that that I took. It could be a picture of anything, as long as it evokes and as long as it has emotion behind it, and as long as you can create a 6-word story around it and it fits in with your topic that you're doing. So here's my picture, and what I'm going to do with this picture is, this is not something that I did in the last class. So because you're here again, I'm going to show you a couple other little tricks. So one thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a couple more pictures to this. So I went to the layering section right here, and I'm going to add a photo. So I'm going to put a picture of my 10-year-old up here. So I'm going to put him in my picture so we can include him. And then I'm going to go back to photo, and I'm going to put a picture of my little guy. See if I can find that picture. Here he is. And then I'm going to put him on my picture too. So here we go. I'm just adding a couple pictures on here, and then I'm going to merge them together and create a 6-word story. So my 6-word story, I'm going to go up to text, and if this is going really fast, remember it's all inside of the iPicky training at giftedresources.com. So my 6-word story is going to be, a family who sleds together stays together. So I'm going to type in, a family who sleds together there we go. Family who sleds together stays together. I can make it larger if I want. I can center it. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be my big idea of my paper. A family who sleds together stays together. So now I have a picture to go along with it. This might become the cover of my book. If I'd like to do that, I'm going to just simply press done. And then I'm going to go up to the save bar at the top. And I'm going to give it family who sleds together. And then I'm going to save the photo. And I'll put it right in here with my writing that I'm doing. Okay, excellent. So now what I've done is I went to Google Voice, and then I got my ideas out. Here we go. And it looks like, let's see if the transcription's ready for us. And it looks like the transcription is ready for us. So here's the transcription that we did on Google Voice earlier today. And you'll notice that it's not perfect by any means. They're working on that, but it gives me a good starting spot. And then I took that information, I put it into a Wordle. So this kind of gives me an idea, but it's a little bit jumbled up. And then I go into iPicky, and I went ahead and I created a picture that says, a family who sleds together stays together. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I think I did it incorrectly. And I think I did 7 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think yesterday when I did this, I did families who sled together stay together. That's what I did. So I would have to go back and redo it, which I'm not going to do right now. But it should be families who sled together stay together. So that's the big idea, or the topic sentence that I'm going to work with. This is, again, is going to become the cover of my book. So now what I'm going to do is I need to take all of those big ideas that I have from my Wordle. That's the big ideas. The iPicky gets it down to 6 words, in my case 7 words. But now I need to begin to get the essence of my story and to actually create something that has some kind of organization to it. And in this case, I'm going to use mind mapping. Some of you may be familiar with mind mapping. I've been doing mind mapping since I was part of an organization called Learning Forum back in 1999, 2000. And I learned mind mapping there, and it was phenomenal. It's an excellent way for you to get information out quickly in an organized fashion. And the program that I use is called Mind 42. It's an online mind mapping program to help you get your ideas on paper in an organized way. So let's open the mind map that I'm currently working on. So you'll see here it's called sledding. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And you will see all of my ideas in here. But I'm going to go ahead and close them down so we can see it all at one point. Okay, so a wise teacher once told me there were 3 parts to writing. Tell your audience what you're going to tell them. So tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So it's really quite easy, and this is what she had taught back in 3rd grade to my son, and I thought, that's brilliant. Tell them what you're going to tell them. That's your introduction. Then tell them, and then tell them what you told them in a little bit different way. So the tell them part is generally where I start. So the way that this worked, in the way that I started, is I opened up my mind map, and I put my big idea in the middle, which was sledding. And it's very simple to do mind mapping. So it was sledding. So it says, tell them. Okay, so the 3 things that I wanted to tell my audience was that families who sled together stay together. That was my first idea. So again, this is the body. My first idea is families who sled together stay together. My second idea is they have common experiences on the sledding hill. So a 40-year-old mother would have a common or similar experience than a 15-year-old son. It's going to be a little different. He may choose a little wilder ride, or she may choose a different kind of a sled. It might be a little different, but the experience is going to be common. And then finally, together they create family memories. So those are the 3 big ideas. Now, you'll notice these ideas are in the introduction, and then these ideas are also in the conclusion. So when I started this mind map, I just took my 3 ideas in the tell them section, didn't write any of this other stuff, and I just wrote the ideas out. Families who sled together stay together, they have a common experience on the sledding hill, and they create memories. I'm going to say exactly the same thing in the intro in a little bit different way. I'm going to say exactly the same thing in the body, and I'm going to say exactly the same thing in the conclusion. The conclusion and the intro are going to be a little bit different. The intro is going to be the foreshadowing, getting people excited about what I'm going to tell them. The conclusion is going to tell them basically what I told them in a different way, and then the body is going to be the meat. And in this case, I have 3 paragraphs in my body that are in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by explaining what I did here, but I need a little bit of help with the introduction and the conclusion. So if you would like to send Miss Thompson a private message, so you just send her a little message with your email address. Send her a message right now with your email address, and I'm going to give you the link. I'll have her give you the link so that you can go in and help me. And what I need volunteers for is I have a collaborative tool here. So you, at your homes all over the United States, can actually work on this mind map while I'm working on it too. So I need a few people who will work on the introduction and a few people who will work on the conclusion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, actually go ahead if you would just give me your email addresses. I'm going to put those email addresses right now inside of here so a few people can work on this as we're working together. So let's go ahead and grab a few volunteers, see if Mrs. Thompson has any. Let's see. Is there somebody who will work on the conclusion and somebody who would work on the introduction? Go ahead and just type in your email address and we will invite you to do that right now. And while we're doing that, think about how you could use the collaboration feature. So inside of this mind map, you can collaborate on it along with your child and other people too. So think about how you might use this collaboration feature. All right, so do I have any takers? Anybody who's willing to? Okay, excellent. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just quickly invite these people. They will get an email in their email box, and then they can, once they get in, you can work on the introduction and the conclusion. So you can just start adding in different things. I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Let me go ahead and just invite you first. Thank you for being patient. Think about how you might use this collaboratively with your students. And how could they collaborate with others? And who else might they collaborate with? So thinking about this story that I'm doing right here, are there other people that I could collaborate with just in the planning process? Any ideas that you might have? Type those into the chat area. Okay, those of you who volunteered, thank you so much. I just sent you some information so you can collaborate. And when you do, we should have, let me just double check. Okay, good. When you do, what you're going to do is you'll be on this section over here. Tell them what you're going to tell them. And you just, when you're adding on branches to the mind map, you click on here, these 3 branches. Families who sled together stay together. And you just go to the plus box. And you can write in an idea. So I might write in scientific evidence. Is there any scientific evidence that says that this is true? If you're helping, don't worry about it being perfect. You can just go ahead and share any ideas that you have in each one of these areas. And then you're also going to be helping with tell them what you told them. So once you get started in there, just feel free to work around and we'll see what you add on here. Okay, so let's get back to the body here. So tell them. Families who sled together stay together. They have common experiences on the sledding hill, and they create family memories. Okay, so what I've done here is I have a little system that I use in my own writing. And this is something that I wrote down for you on the file transfer that I did earlier today, and I'll send it out to you at the end if you need it one more time. So basically what I do is I have a lock and key system. So my lock is an icon that I use, and over here on the right-hand side, you'll see there are icons. So in order to get to them, you need to click on the paragraph that you're looking at. You go over here to the icons, and for me, here's the lock, the key, and the picture frame. There are 3 that I use. The lock is my topic sentence. So it's locked in. Everything else has to connect to it. It's not going to change. So my first idea is families who sled together stay together. So it says, for nearly 40 years, I've sledded with my extended family. So that's my topic sentence. That's my lock. It's not going to change. I'll take questions in just a minute. Let me go through this section because I know I'm covering a lot of information, and you're kind of passengers in the passenger seat just holding on for dear life. I realize that I'll go back and make sure that we close any gaps that there are. So just a minute on questions, please. So I've got my 3 ideas here. My topic sentence, for nearly 40 years, I've sledded with my extended family. Everything underneath this is going to connect with the past 40 years. It has a lock in front of it, so I added on the icon, so it's a topic sentence. The second one, when I was a young child, I remember sitting on the back of my uncle's snowmobile with my little arms around his waist, holding on for dear life as he drug me up and down the hill. You'll notice that there's a frame in front of this one. I like to tell students, and I like to do my own, show, not tell. So you want them to show what the sentence is about rather than telling them. So telling them would say, there was a girl holding on to her uncle's waist as he drove to the top of the hill. No, you want to paint the picture in a way so you're showing, not telling them what's going on. You can use this with your children using like or as. And I know that I use like or as up here a little farther, and I'll show you what that looks like. So that would be a photo frame, one that I showed and not, I'd show and not told. Today, I make sure my own children, as well as the rest of the neighborhood kids, are safe in the back of the pickup as we drive to the top of the hill. So again, connected to my 40 years of sledding experience. And then you'll notice a key on this one. A key is going to get you into the next lock. So your key in this case is a transitional sentence. It somehow has to connect to the next paragraph. The experience of sledding with my own children is rooted in my childhood memories. So the whole next thing, the whole next experience is about common experiences on the or childhood memories in this case. Okay? So that takes me to the next sentence. If I wanted to move this and think, you know what, this might go a little bit better down here, I just hold on to it and I drag it and drop it. So you can completely move things around inside of this mind map as they're writing, and that's the value of mind mapping using this program, in my opinion, because I can take this information and I can move it to wherever I want to on the mind map. So it's not just static information that has to stay in one spot. I can move it from place to place to place, depending on where I see that it fits the best. Okay? So I've got my topic sentence. I have two sentences here that I'm showing and not telling. And here is where I use like and as. It begins with the anticipation everyone feels, an audible level of excitement that buzzes in the air like bees on honey. Using the word like and using the word as. Those are two very powerful writing techniques. And then right here, finally the screams lead to laughter, carrying the experience directly to the memory bank. That's going to take me into the final paragraph, which is about memories, right over here. Okay? I'm going to take any questions that you have now about mind mapping. I'm going to take those now, and then I'll show you how you can export these from the mind map into an outline. That's going to be a very powerful technique for you too. But before I do that, does anybody have any questions? Feel free to type them into the chat area or raise your hand and you can ask them on the microphone. All right. Any questions at all? Feel free to ask them right now or we'll continue on. Do we make a username and password? Yes. If you're using with your children, you'll need to make a username and password. I think there might be a little bit of a glitch with those of you who are collaborating, and if the collaborating did not work that time, that is just fine. My suggestion for usernames and passwords, use the same one you're using for the online school in all these tools that I'm sharing today. And it says here, Gideon wants to know if you need to make a new one when they get into mind map. Yes. For the collaboration, no. It's just working on the one that I'm working on. And if it doesn't work for you and you're not able to do it, don't worry about that. The collaboration part is secondary compared to what we're going to do next. All right. So let me go ahead and show you what we're going to do next. Next, this is where the power is, and this is why I chose this particular application. So let me share my desktop. Alrighty, so here we go. The power in this program, in my opinion, is once you're able to create an outline, this is basically what you've done. You, through this outline or through this mind mapping software, you've actually created an outline for your writing. So what I'll do is I'll go up to the top and I'm going to go to publish. This will be the first thing I'm going to do. So you can take a look at all of it. So publishing is just giving me a URL that I can then give to you so you can take a look at it. So let's go ahead and if you would go back to your chat area, click on the link that I shared with you, you'll be able to see the entire mind map. So feel free to click back on that link and you'll be able to see the entire mind map. There we go. So if you want to just kind of take a look at it and see how I've organized it, feel free to do that. So I can publish this, for instance, and I could share it with Grandma if I wanted to. One way that I might collaborate with somebody, perhaps, let's say that I'm writing this for an article that I'm doing with maybe for a newspaper or something, and I want to get some feedback from my brother or from my own parents. I could invite them as collaborators. If you're working with your children, let's say that they're writing from personal experience about a competition that they won, maybe they want to get feedback from Grandma and Grandpa on how they felt about the experience. That could be part of the collaboration process. All of the collaboration can be done here within the mind map. Next, I'm going to show you how to export it. Again, this is where I feel like the biggest power is. So I'm going to go to the export button. And I'm going to export it as RTF, rich text format. The reason I'm choosing rich text format is because this puts it into a Word document for me. So I'm going to go to rich text format and I'm going to press export. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like within Word. So let me go ahead and open this up. This is what it looks like within Word, and it's a little messy when it comes out, but I'll show you how to clean it up. Okay, so everybody should be able to see this now within Word. Give me a smiley face if we're doing okay. You can see. Okay, excellent. All right, so here we are, we're in Word. So basically I just did the export feature. I went up to sledding on the top and I went down and pressed export, and it gave me my writing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to View, Outline. And this is, I told you earlier that I wrote my dissertation. I wrote my dissertation in Word, and I did almost the whole thing in this outline view. I think this outline view is brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So here's how it works. Once I'm in outline view, it says, it goes back here, tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And then what I did is it comes down here to the main ideas that I came across and created. Here's one main idea, families who sled together stay together. And then my next main idea, they have common experiences on the sledding hill, and they create family memories. So all of it's right here. Now the reason that I like the outline view so much is because I can move things around. So let's say that I want this to move down here, and I want to bring this section up here. I just click on this link and I can drag things all around in my writing, which I think is phenomenal, because once you write the sentences, it's kind of like where you take the note cards and you kind of, in your research paper, mix them all out. This is how you can take them in and begin to organize them and put them into some kind of order. So you should have done that inside of the mind map, but if you didn't, you can do it inside of Word as well. So I can go in, if I want to add another sentence right here, I can add it here. So I'm just writing right inside of my Word document, right here. How are we doing so far? How are we doing so far? Give me some feedback in the chat area. Does this sound like something that you will use? Outlining using a mind map and moving it over into Word. Maybe using iPicky to go along with it. Starting with Wordle. Go ahead and give me some feedback really quick so I can see that we're on the right track. Yay, I'm doing the happy dance in Washington State right now. I'm so glad this is working for everyone. When it's quiet in the chat area, I'm just never sure, but it sounds like you're all kind of just processing it right now. Okay, so here is the outline form. Again, you can kind of move it all around. Here's where it's going to be valuable for you as a learning coach or as a teacher. This is where you can give feedback to your students. So what I might do is I might come in here and I'm going to go to the Review tab, and this is where you can give your child feedback and comments. I don't know if any of you have used this before. I use this a ton in my graduate program. So the way that it works is that you can put a comment. It's like putting a sticky note on your child's paper. So I'm going to go down here and where it says, I can add it here. I'm going to put a comment, and it's going to say, what do you mean by this? Maybe I left that in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and click Enter. And then that comment is going to be on the child's work. So they'll see that it's got a little bit of a note here that they can open up when they're reviewing it, and I'll show you what that looks like. So can I add this here? Maybe I want to go down here where it says, ooh, this one's a little bit out of whack. You'll notice it's over a little. I just have to move it over. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Screams can be heard as people take off down the hill and the sled gets faster and faster like an avalanche in the forest. I'm just going to give them a little note here. It's going to say, wow, I can see what you are saying. Write more sentences just like this one. There we go. Then I'm going to hit Enter. And then I'm creating a list of comments for my child inside of their work right inside of the program, so I don't have to worry about that. If I want to track changes, this one's a little bit tricky. It's not tricky doing it isn't tricky. The tricky part is that, let's say that I want to add quotation marks or show that my child didn't do a capital letter or they didn't use the correct punctuation. If I use track changes and make those changes for them, they just have to press accept and all the changes are made. Because you, as a learning coach and as a teacher, have to decide how much help you're going to give them. Like with my 10-year-old, I don't give him that kind of help where I make those kind of changes. I might highlight something like the word what isn't capitalized at the beginning of the sentence. I might highlight the whole word what so he realizes that something's not right with that word or with that part of it, but I won't make those changes for him. I feel like it's giving him too much and making it a little too easy for him. So I use a highlighting method, but it can be however you want it to be. So here we go. So here we are within Word. I've done all of that. Got a couple more little Shazam type of tips that I want to share with you. So we're still in outline view. I'm going to go over to outlining at the top, and I'm going to close the outlining view. You'll see here that the comments that I made for my child or my student are over here on the right-hand side. If they want to get rid of those comments, they just go to the review. They can read them, and then they can accept them. Or actually, in this case, they're going to delete the comment after they've read it, so it's not in the final paper anymore. So they just press delete. Now it's still kind of messy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to home and I'm going to go over to this area called styles. And I'm going to change the style to this, and the style that I'm going to use is manuscript. Actually, I'm going to go press normal, go to manuscript. Now I need to clean it up. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to, that manuscript is not, let me go to the default here really quick. Let me go to default, and then let me change it back to manuscript. There are all sorts of different styles that you can use. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and clean up my writing. I would have written a introduction, so I would just go ahead and put these things together. I don't have an introduction in this paragraph, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. So basically what your children are going to do is they're going to, I'm going to press Control A, so I'm going to select all. I'm going to change everything to normal, the top, then I'm going to go up. I'm going to try this way, then I'm going to go to manuscript. There we go. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my paper, and the reason I like, it's kind of cumbersome to go through sentence by sentence, but then I'm reading the whole thing. Families who sled together stay together. Okay, so that was just my, that's just my heading. So I'm going to, or my heading up here, so I'm going to change that to a heading, heading 1. For nearly 40 years, I've sledded with my extended family. I'm going to bring the next one up. When I was a young child, I remember sitting on the back of my uncle's snowmobile with my little arms around his waist, holding on for dear life as he drug me and my sled to the top of the hill. Today, I make sure my own children, as well as the rest of the neighborhood children, are safe in the back of the pickup as we drive to the top of the hill. So I'm reading through it and I say, ooh, noticing. I use the word hill twice, so maybe I'm going to highlight both of those so I can go back and fix them. So as I'm reading it out loud, that's one strategy. Reading out loud is an excellent way for kids to edit their own writing. The experience of sledding with my own children is rooted in my own childhood memories. I'm going to get rid of this one. They have common experience on the sledding hill. I'm going to get rid of that. Sledding provides a common experience the whole family can relate to. Screams can be heard as people take off down the hill, and the sled gets faster and faster like an avalanche in the forest. So I'm reading it out loud so I can hear what it sounds like. I'm making sure that all the words are coming together. There are spaces in between each period. There are 2 spaces after. So I'm beginning to read it and kind of put it together into a manuscript form. So here we go. So the last Shazam that I want to share with you is once I get this into the format that I like, and I've read through the entire thing, all of the words look right, exactly how I want it to, which I don't right now. But I do want to show you one other thing. Once I get it the way that I want it to look, then I'm going to go up to readability, usability, or readability statistics. So this is my Word options right here. So you'll need to do this inside of Word. You'll go down to your Word options. You're going to go to Proofing on the left-hand side. And then you're going to click this button. Most likely it's not going to be clicked. Show Readability Statistics. It's probably going to be unclicked. You want to click it. Okay? You're going to click it. That's okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to review it for spelling and grammar. So it's going to go through, and it's going to say, ooh, you need a period here, so you'll make those changes. I do let my 10-year-old use this because I think it's going to be a tool that he's going to use in his future, so I'm fine with that. It's saying here, don't end the sentence with a preposition, and that's because I chose grammar and style. Sledding provides a common experience the whole family can relate to. So I could say, the whole family can relate to sledding or something like that, but I'm just going to ignore it in this case. I'm just going to ignore the whole thing so I can show you, once you're done, these are the readability statistics that I wanted to share with you. Once you click that, it'll tell you what grade level your child is writing at. So this Flesch-Kincaid grade level is 9.8. So as a reader, I need to be my 9th grade, 8th month into that, and that'll show you the grade level. And also the reading ease, all of that is in here. Let me show you really quick. You'll see here, let me open this up. I'm going to show you the lesson plan that I'm teaching from here real quick. So I'll show you what these different things mean. So let me open up the writing process. Okay, so yours looks a little bit different, but I'm going to scroll down. The readability statistics. This is on the sheet that I transferred to you. This tells you exactly what those how to do the readability statistics, so how to do it on your Microsoft Word and Outlook. And then it also tells you what it means. So like the Flesch-Kincaid grade level, a score of 8.0 means that an 8th grader can understand the document. So basically it's the understanding of the text is the Flesch-Kincaid. It also tells you that, excuse me, the reading ease tells you how the reading scores work. So you can kind of take a look at this and see where your child's writing and whether your child's writing is based on these readability statistics. I want to show you also on this document, there's an online app that does the same thing, and I'll show you why I like to use the online app. So the online app, again, is on the same page. Let me go ahead and grab my sledding document here. So I'm going to select my sledding document. I'm going to go back to the online app that I gave you. It's an online readability statistic document. Same thing as inside of Word, but there's one difference. I'm going to put the text in. I'm going to process the text, and it's going to give me it'll give me probably a similar one. It looks like the Flesch-Kincaid here is 1089, so it's a little bit higher than it was before. It'll also give me the reading ease, and you want to shoot, I think it was saying that you want to shoot for at least 60, so I'm about 58, 76. But the reason I like this is because at the bottom it says list of sentences we suggest you should consider to rewrite to improve readability of this text. So it says, you know what, your text is good, but these 3 sentences, you may want to think about rewriting them because they're a little confusing. I love this. Your child can become a more independent writer because you have given them something to shoot for. First of all, they can put their writing in here and they can shoot for their grade level on the grade level test right here. But then it also says, before you turn it into your mom or your teacher, rewrite these 3 sentences. So then you as a parent or as a teacher aren't being the one who says, you know what, you really need to rewrite this. It's the computer saying, these are the 3 sentences that I would suggest that you rewrite. They have an editor built into their computer before they even have to come to you with their writing, so they can become much more independent and turn in more professional work before they come to you to get rewrite. So this is an excellent tool. It is on the plan that I gave you. Let me open this up so I can show it to you, exactly what I'm talking about. So this is the file transfer. If you didn't get it, you will get it today. Let me go over what we went over and then I will take questions, so I know we've hit the hour mark. So here are the tools that we use today. Again, I would suggest that you use the username and password for your online school. Use it when you sign up for these tools. Google Voice, you'll definitely need to sign up with a number. Wordle, you don't need to sign up at all. And iPicky, you do not need to sign up at all. Mind Map, Mind42, you do need to sign up with a username and password. All of these are free. Word processing program, if you have a K-12 computer, use Word. If not, you can use Google Docs. We didn't go into Google Docs, but there's a link here. And then the last thing you need is an audience, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. We started by determining the topic. All of you shared an answer garden, and we got a topic. Then we moved over and did our fast write in Google Voice, where I called into the telephone and it typed in my information. I took that information and I put it into Wordle, and that gave me a big idea of what it was that I wanted to talk about. So I knew that I wanted it to be about family and sledding. And then we made it a 6-word story, really began to hammer it down into iPicky. We created the picture, families who sled together stayed together, showed you how to use that. And then we went into Mind42. This is where we did the mind map. You'll start from scratch. We started on an existing one. If you start from scratch with your kids, I would just suggest putting your idea in the middle like sledding, and then the 3 outlining ideas, which would be tell them what you're going to tell them what you told them. And then choose 3 ideas under that. So 3 things they're going to talk about, and then from those 3 things, they go on the intro, the body, and the conclusion. Same ideas all the way through, the same thing in the introduction, the body, and the conclusion, and then they will just foreshadow it in the introduction, write the meat of it or the bulk of it in the body, and then tell them what they told them in the conclusion. And then we went into Word. I talked about the icons here too, with the lock, the key, and the show not tell. And then we went into Word and I showed you how to put it into an outline view so that you can go in, and also how to give your student feedback using the commenting features that are inside of Word. Inside of Word, you can use the Readability Statistics, so you'll need to go and check that button on your Word. And then you'll also, you can also go to that online application if you want them to have the 3 extra sentences or the sentences that they can improve upon. And then the last thing I want to share with you, and I'll share this out as well, is these are some areas, or these are some tools that they can use for an audience. One of the most important motivators you can give their kids is an audience for their writing. The first one is Edmodo. It's a social network for kids. Your teachers may have one. If they don't, on our website, giftedresources.com, there is a training session on how to use Edmodo. Share that with your teacher. She may want to create an Edmodo class for you. Pinterest, some of you use Pinterest. Your kids can post their writing up there as well. Skype, you can call grandma, aunts and uncles, brothers, whoever, and they can read their writing to somebody using Skype. Twitter, you'll need to, because it's only 140 characters, you can tweet something and then put a link to it if they have a WordPress, a blog or something like that. Put their writing on Facebook. I know my kids are really motivated when something goes up on Facebook. Anytime that, that they have an opportunity to have an audience. So perhaps you want to put it in a note on your Facebook for grandma and everybody to respond to. You can do it in the notes section. Don't use their first and last names. We don't want to create a unnecessary digital footprint for our kids. So you can just put up their initials or whatever, but have family members respond to them via Facebook. WordPress is a great way for your kids to create their own blogs if they want to start blogging. YouTube is the #2 search engine in the United States, and people are putting YouTube videos up like crazy. So if your child wants to, you could use your cell phone and you could videotape them reading or writing. They can put it up to YouTube and then share the link out with family members. And then finally, Lulu. Lulu is a kind of like Shutterfly. It's a cheaper way to publish your own books, but students can go in and they can actually make physical books to go along with their writing using Lulu. So hopefully that is helpful, and I am going to go back into the main room and take any questions. Like I said, I know it was a lot of information. I'm going to have Mrs. T share out that file transfer one more time in case you didn't get it. So I'll have her do the file transfer really quick for you in case you didn't get it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please, 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 I can't stress enough, please join us on our Facebook page. We would love to have you. We've got a lot of support that's happening over there. We do share a lot of our ideas that we initially get on our Facebook page. The link here on the bottom of our page is linkable, and then we also have a newsletter, so please sign up for the newsletter also, because we would love to have you. Thank you all. I'm here to answer any questions that you have. Carly just pushed across the 21st century writing process that I just created, so please press yes, save it now, save it to somewhere that you can get to it. It's all right there for you. Everything is right there for you. The person who sent you the link for today's session will be the one that will send you the recorded link, so if you didn't get a chance to watch all of it, then I would definitely highly recommend that you do that. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn off the recording, but if anyone has any questions, please stay around and ask any questions that you have. We would love to help you. Thanks for coming, everybody. And again, we're opening up for questions right now.